So hey guys, and welcome to the second video that I'll be making on my predictions for 2024. Now if you haven't already watched my video on my predictions for 2024 for Amiga, I just recorded that one before this one, so please take the time if you can to catch up with that video, because in that video it kind of has a knock-on effect, if you like, my predictions for Amiga in regards to what I think's partly going to happen with Rolex this year. And it's probably better for me to start with, just a quick overview really of what happened during 2023 with Rolex. And of course, look, it goes without saying that Rolex have had an amazing 3 or 4 years really in the watch market. They've kind of been completely and utterly unparalleled and unmatched in terms of their might and their popularity. A lot of their, particularly their sports models, have become very, very investable, I guess, to a degree. And although that obviously has toned down significantly in the last 18 months or so, with the market dropping off significantly, I think it's fair to say that the underlying interest and demand in Rolex watches hasn't really cessated significantly. From an investment perspective, they've certainly reduced in attraction, but certainly from an aesthetic perspective and the core, I guess what you could refer to as the core group of watch enthusiasts that were always there enjoying Rolexes beforehand, they're still there, and the market without question has grown for them significantly. So that interest and appeal that Rolex has will never go away. And the question is really, what are they going to do in 2024? But I'll reflect very quickly on 2023, because it does kind of, what they did during 2023, I think does kind of give you a slight indication as to what they might do in 2024. So for me, what we saw in 2023 was when you look at all the new releases, it was very much a catalogue of new releases of watches that were really, really difficult to get. In other words, they appeared to me to be very much on the novelty scale. So for example, we'll take the Celebration dial, Oyster Perpetual. Not many people are going to be able to get their hands on that very easily, are they? It wasn't a watch for the common people. It was a watch for the fanatics and the people that have been, let's say, very loyal to Rolex and spent a lot of money. They're the kind of people that are going to get that watch. You saw also some really freaky watches like the emoji. I don't know what's going on there. The emoji day date. I just, wow, it blows my mind still that is actually a Rolex watch. I think it's quite remarkable, really, isn't it? But it's very popular. It's popular because it's different, very much like the Celebration dial. We also had let's say, look at the Daytona, for example, very popular watch. They released the Le Mans Daytona. Again, it's going to be an almost impossible watch for you to get your hands on, like the Celebration dial OP and like the emoji day date. That Le Mans Daytona was really for the elitist Rolex collectors out there, and film stars and people that are well connected, shall we say. Not a watch for the common person. You had a couple of slightly more, I guess, run-of-the-mill releases. You had the two GMT Master 2s, the two-tone and the solid gold GMT Master 2s. Really nice watches. Possibly released at a time when gold has kind of gone a little bit out of fashion. I wonder if Rolex, maybe released those models maybe a year too late. But anyway, it's Rolex's business, and they know the market probably better than anybody else. So they released those two watches, and they'll stay in the catalogue, of course, for a very long time. And finally, I just wanted to mention the titanium Yachtmaster, which I look at it and actually think it's a really boring watch. I'm sorry if that upsets anybody out there, but I find that titanium Yachtmaster just really boring. It's titanium, which is not exactly a new or a precious metal, and it's the Yachtmaster, which I just don't like the bezel on the Yachtmaster. If I'm honest with you, I don't like that embossed bezel. It just doesn't do anything for me. So, and again, apparently you can't get hold of that Yachtmaster anyway, even if you wanted to. So my I guess my theory around 2023 for Rolex was that when you look at all of the watches they released, and I grant you they did bring out another Explorer, a 40mm Explorer. I grant you that. But what else did they do? They discontinued the Milgauss. But they really didn't do anything, which kind of appealed, to the common people, to the wider audience of Rolex. So I actually think, moving on to my point about 2024, is I actually think that they're going to address that. I think 2024 is going to be where they actually really go for the common sporty watches and do something really exciting with them. So what I'm expecting to see in 2024, guys, firstly, I'm expecting them to see, or expecting them to do a lot more with the Oyster Perpetual. I'm picking, especially having just released the Celebration dial in this year. I think going into next year, they'll probably do something with the standard Oyster Perpetuals, and whether that's maybe discontinue a couple of colours and add 2 or 3 more, maybe add something with a pattern dial, which is more available than the Celebration dial, let's say. I also think that they'll do something with the date just, the 30s, well, all of the date justs, but the 36 and the 41 in particular. I think they'll do something there. And that, again, that might be some new patterns. Actually, out of interest, I'm wearing my my palm motif date just 36 today. Actually, I've been wearing it pretty much since I got it a couple of weeks ago now. Something like that, which is attainable, not easy to get, but attainable. I think they'll focus more on those sort of more commonly available lower price end models and do something quite exciting with them that we think we might actually be able to get. Now the big thing, if you watched my earlier prediction with Omega, and I'm picking very strongly that Omega are going to release a new Seamaster Professional model early next year. So Rolex are not going to miss the opportunity to counter that and to trump that if they can, to beat it, and what's the way that they're going to be able to beat a new Seamaster, guys? I mean, yeah, absolutely, it's going to be something with the Submariner. So I think that would be really exciting. One of the things with the Submariner over the last couple of years with Rolex is they haven't really done anything with it. Now, if you look back, they discontinued the Hulk, the all green, the green face, the green dial, and the green bezel Submariner, that were commonly referred to as the Hulk. They discontinued that. I think that was in 2020. Since then, obviously they upgraded the model as well, from the thicker lugs, the maxi case lugs, to the narrower lugs, the slightly wider bracelet. All these things have made the Submariner a nicer watch, but they haven't really done anything exciting with the design. So my pick for next year, guys, is that they'll do something with the Submariner. I think what they did with the Starbucks last year or this year, which was to slightly change the colour of the green, slightly change the tone of the green in the bezel. I mean, honestly, that's really boring. I mean, that's all they had to offer you for an anniversary Submariner, was a slightly greener bezel than a green bezel they already made. So, without wishing to sound too miserable about it, I think Rolex have been a bit stingy with the Submariner, really. So I think 2024, especially with the Seamaster coming out, they're definitely going to do something. Now, I've got a theory that they're going to release 2. So I'm gonna make a call now, guys, because hey, this is the watch hobby and this is a bit of fun, and I don't know anything, and of course I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. Even the ADs in Switzerland don't know anything. The only people that know what's going to happen next year are probably 4 or 5 guys at the top in Rolex, and it will be on a need to know basis even in the factory when those new models get made. So. My prediction is they'll release 2 new Submariners. I am going to predict now. I'm going to put my my hat on the peg and say that they're going to re-release the Hulk. So I think they're going to re-release the green dial and the green bezel Submariner. And I also think, and here's prediction number 2 for model number 2. I also think they're going to release a left-hand drive. Yes, you've got it. A left-hand drive, a Destro Submariner. So here's my theory about the left-hand drive models. When Rolex released the left-hand drive, what's commonly known as the Sprite or the Riddler, back in getting on for 2 years ago now. They released it in March 2022. Everybody said that was going to be a one-year horse. They were going to release that because it was so unlike Rolex to release something so unusual. It could only be a niche watch, which is aimed at the collector, It's aimed to create an unobtainable model that everybody aspires to get their hands on. Well, I'm in disagreement with that. I think that model, that VTNR GMT Master 2, I think that's going to be around for a long time. I've just done a review on mine. I'm very fortunate enough to have one, so if you haven't seen it already, check out that review that I did of that recently. But I think that model's going to stay in the catalogue. And it's not the first time Rolex have released a left-hand drive model, and I've actually done a little bit of digging in history, not a great deal, but I've done a little bit of digging, and actually Rolex did manufacture and market as a standard catalogue product a Datejust. Once upon a time, many moons ago, they actually had a left-hand drive Datejust in the catalogue. They've also made, I think it was a GMT Master 2 Pepsi with a left-hand crown, and they have also, and I'll show you the photograph of it because I found that as well, they have actually made a left-hand crown Submariner in the past as well. Now, my understanding is that the only model which was like commercially produced was the left-hand Datejust. The GMT Master 2 and the Submariner were kind of special order. They were specially made for potentially, a small group of clientele that wanted that, but it wasn't marketed or in the catalogue per se. But what it does mean, guys, is that it's not a first for Rolex to have released, that GMT Master 2 like they did a couple of years ago. My pick is that I'll actually add to the range. I think it's such an unusual piece. Nobody else has copied it, even in the last couple of years. Nobody else has copied that, even though it's obviously very popular. You would have thought somebody out there would have kind of jumped on the bandwagon, but they haven't, because I actually think it's quite hard to make as well. It's quite hard to do that and do it well and give it, the cost chronometer standards as well that it requires. It takes a lot of extra work to get it through that. Rolex can do that because they're big enough. And they want to. So they're my hot picks, guys, really for next year. Just to summarise, I think we'll see kind of Rolex returning back to, the masses, the people that want to get a Rolex, and that would be in the Oyster Perpetual and the Datejust category, those potentially obtainable models. I think that they'll release some new colourways, potentially even new bracelet designs. I mean, wouldn't it be interesting to see the Oyster Perpetual on a Jubilee, for example? I know it sounds crazy, why would you put an Oyster Perpetual on a Jubilee? But why not? Why wouldn't you? And also, my hot pick really is that we'll see something happening with the Submariner, and I think at least two new renditions, one being a left-hand drive. On the note of discontinuation, because I know that obviously plays a significant part in any Rolex conversation these days, particularly when you're talking about what's in and what's out. Rolex discontinued the Milgauss because it just wasn't a popular model, and it kind of was a bit of an odd one in the family, really. I mean, it was a model which was kind of out of spec almost. The magnetic resistance of the Milgauss, which a couple of decades ago might have been something impressive, it's not anymore. So the Milgauss had kind of, it had run its race. So it was time to discontinue that model for technical reasons. But from a discontinuation perspective, there's a lot of people talking about potential discontinuation of the Pepsi GMT Master 2. And I've made a video about this. I can't see it. I just don't think that's going to happen. If Rolex did discontinue the Pepsi, that would be their most popular iconic model, no longer available, and I don't think they're going to do that, and they're certainly not going to discontinue it because they can't make a Pepsi bezel. So my views are that there aren't going to be any significant discontinuations of any model. Stop thinking about it, stop talking about it, and actually think about excuse the miner up there. He's talking to his friend very loudly, but he's just trying to distract me from making this video. Really, they're very intelligent birds, and he's doing a good job. But yeah, just to finish, guys, no discontinuation of the Pepsi. I don't think we'll see a Coke bezel GMT Master 2 either. I think that's probably still maybe a year or two down the track. I do think it'll come, but I think it's a year or two down the track. But I have, in the time that I've been making this video, you will have seen a rendition of what I think a left-handed Hulk Submariner looks like, and let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video when I'll be talking about what I think Tudor are going to do in 2024. Thanks, guys.